February 27th. February 27th means you don't have a lot of time before RRSP contribution deadline. That's why Mike McCullough is here from Canadian Business Magazine to talk about RRSPs. And if we procrastinated to this point, what do we do, Mike?
Okay, well, Monday, March 3rd, is the big RRSP deadline for the 2013 tax year. So if you want a tax receipt to get back some money in April or May or whenever you file, now's the time to do it. Probably if you've waited this long, the thing to do is just to go to your bank, contribute some money probably into some kind of cash account, such as a high-interest savings account or a cashable GIC, a guaranteed investment certificate. That way you can go back in March or April and reallocate that money into something that's going to give you a little higher return, because even though they're called high-interest savings accounts, they're not. Right now, they're not even making you as much as inflation costs you every year.
Oh, that's fascinating. So just get some money into an account and then look ahead to next year and maybe start saving a little sooner?
Right. Well, this is the thing. Once you're probably going to want to talk to a professional advisor of some kind as far as how to allocate that money afterwards. But you also want to start thinking about next year getting into some better investing habits, better saving habits. That's where probably the easiest thing to do is to set up an arrangement with your bank so that every month or every 2 weeks even, you can have a certain amount taken out of your account and put into your RRSP account, whether it's in some kind of funds, mutual funds, or into
something even a little bit higher risk.
Yeah, exactly.
But know your risk. Now, this is interesting. It's the wealthy barber mentality. Is even just 10% of your gross income each paycheck, just that 10% can add up so quickly.
That will do a lot. You, especially if you do it earlier. I mean, a lot of people who are maybe in their late 20s starting out a career, they're not thinking about retirement. But that is really the time they should be doing it, because 10 years later, you might have a family, you might have kids, you might have a mortgage, and you're not going to have that little bit of money left over at the end of the year to contribute to your RSP. And moreover, just the genius of compound returns year after year. If you put $1,000 in when you're 25, generally speaking, your money doubles every 10 years if you've got it appropriately invested. So that $1,000 when you're 25 is going to be $16,000 40 years later when you're 65 and you want to retire.
Wow, there you go. There's the magic of compound interest. The answer to the why would I have an RRSP, especially when you're in your 20s and thinking when I could have a flashier car.
Yeah.
When it comes to putting your money into, like you said, a mutual fund or speaking to a financial advisor, really you do need to go to someone and not get hung up on what you're investing in right now, but just get it in somewhere.
Yeah. Well, not only when you're thinking about reallocating later, but just generally don't get hung up on returns, because there have been a lot of studies coming out recently that show that if the really important thing is how much you contribute.
Right.
The returns you don't have a lot of control over. And a recent study by the Vanguard group showed that if somebody who invested 6% of their income at a higher rate of return, mostly in stocks, actually had a lower amount of money at the end of the day than somebody who invested 9% of their income at a lower rate of return.
So get as much money in your RRSP as you can, because it's money that the government is leaving on the table, and if you don't take it, they will. Thank you very much, Mike, for being here. We're going to pick up Canadian Business Magazine and have ourselves a good read and educate ourselves. Get your RRSP contributions in by the deadline Monday.